Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from cold Israel in the Galilee. If you live in Canada, this is not cold. If you live in a very hot climate like Israel, it's cold. It's, what is it, 55 degrees, but it's kind of cold and damp. And we get a little bit of rain. It's certainly not making up the rain deficit. It's very slight, and you go many hours without anything, and then you get a little light rain. It's nothing. But it's annoying. You got to make sure the are in. I got to take my chair out from outside inside so it doesn't get drenched and all this kind of stuff. So today is a very big, big, big Bible study. It's about a lot of things, heavy duty on the daughter of Babylon, the great Exodus, the close of recompenses, the beginning of year of redemption, the day of vengeance, which these things are never spoken about in the church. Isaiah 34:8, Isaiah 61, the first 3 or 4 verses, Isaiah 63, and they just don't. I've never seen one church teach the daughter of Babylon's in America. I don't see any of these crazy false teachers and false prophets on the internet anywhere teaching this. It's just independent people. They won't teach. So, all right. It is what it is. So I'm going to go into the live stream, make sure it's running, put my posts up, and we'll get started. It's a big one. Pray that I get strength, stamina, and endurance. I think I just hit the wrong button or something. Yeah, I think I did. Try again. There we go. I got the right one, I think. There we are. Okay, let me see if we got sound and picture. Yeah, I think I did. Try again. There we go. I got the right one, I think. We got sound and picture. Okay, I'll do the offerings while people come in. All right, I'll get my email address up. Okay, we got that up. And let me do some praise. We'll get started. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. Let me get the prayer requests out there before I forget what happened with an intense Bible study. First prayer for E.B. Edward Baker. E.B. Edward Baker. E.B. Healing from flu and post-flu symptoms for E.B. Healing from flu and post-flu symptoms for E.B. Next, I just have a first name, Daniel. Pray that this individual gets life together and walks with the Lord. For Daniel, gets his life together and walks with the Lord. That's when you send in a prayer request, guys. I'm going to do it anyway. You don't have to give me the history. Just give me the initials of the person, like, AB, in hospital pneumonia healing, or, somebody hip problem or knee problem, and we'll put it out there. You don't have to give me all, because I'm going to put it out. I put it out, whatever you guys send in, I put it out. Unless it's something crazy like, pray that XYZ get killed. Then, unless it's something else, I'm not going to do it. All right, so there's going to be a lot of new revelations I've been getting, because probably one of the reasons is we're getting very, very close, and the Lord's really giving me many more insights into Jeremiah 50:51, Isaiah 47. And we're not changing the doctrine. We're not even close to that. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to get more insights in this, okay? More fine details, and you'll love it. Like, I think I'm going to present the case that the fires today, I am going to present you a case that the fires in Babylon, America, are coming from the two witnesses. And I'll put it together, and you could. I don't have a scripture that says the two witnesses will cause fires in America. I don't have that, okay? It doesn't say Elijah or Apostle John, of course, but I'm going to put it together for you. And then you see, It looks like that's the case, okay? And we're going to do that. But let's set the stage. Trump, okay, let me tell you what happened in Gaza. I'm not going to do the news very much, okay? There's some fighting in Ukraine escalated. People are focusing on Ukraine. That's because they don't really know the Bible at all, or they have a very superficial understanding of it, because it's going to cause all the trouble. This is about Israel. The year of recompenses is over the fighting over Zion, over Israel, the dry parched land. It's really Judah and Jerusalem. It's not Israel yet, but they don't know any of this, so they focus on Ukraine or China, that kind of thing. I've heard for months these people talk about emergency networks and planes moving around America, and I don't get any. I mean, nothing comes of it. Okay, so let's continue. Hamas is saying that Netanyahu broke the ceasefire terms, and there's not going to be a hostage release. On Saturday, we're supposed to get 3 hostages at 12 noon. Of course, Israel's not going to release hostages. And Netanyahu has mobilized the military, put the reserves on standby. We're on very high alert. Trump has said they better give all the hostages back, or they'll be held to pay. So now he's upgrading it to all the hostages. Trump is basing this on the emaciated, starving appearance of the last three hostages, and he said they looked like they were out of a concentration camp, which is correct. They did. Now, I'm going to open up what Trump's really doing, and some of you might be a little shocked. Okay. So he's basically telling Netanyahu attack Gaza. Netanyahu's going to do it. Don't think he's not. The military is already in preparation. So he might bomb Gaza before Saturday. Likely, I don't know if he will or he won't. I don't know. Okay, it's probably in his nature to do some bombing strikes on Gaza to wake them up and see if they're going to say, okay, we'll give in. It's unlikely they will because it makes it look like they're afraid of Israel. But you never know. They're also worried about Trump, so he might try negotiating with him the next day or two, or he might wait until Saturday noon, and then Netanyahu probably by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon will start bombing Gaza again. I don't think there'll be any October 7th invasions again because there's too much alert in Israel with the military right now. Okay? We've still been striking places in Hezbollah, but let's get back to Gaza. If Hamas says Israel broke this ceasefire, we're not giving the hostages back until Israel complies with the ceasefire. It's a lot of gobbledygook, something to do with humanitarian aid, which is bogus and other things. It's ridiculous. What they're doing, and a lot of commentators feel it's this, they're infuriated at what Trump and Netanyahu were doing in regards to evacuating the Palestinians or the Gazans out of Gaza. Hamas knows they're dead as a doornail if that happens. You take 1.92 million of the civilians out of there, and Hamas go because they're going to be looking for Hamas at the exit points. So they're going to stay there. And Trump said we'll finish the war. Well, you can't rebuild Gaza with 20,000 or so Hamas there, so Netanyahu could just indiscriminately start bombing the place. The building's got to come down anyway. You know, that's it. Bomb the place until they surrender. If they don't surrender, goodbye. That's what Netanyahu will do. Then he will sell it to Trump. And then Trump will get working on it. And Trump is also saying the Palestinians will never come back to Gaza. Now, Trump has gone out of his way to grossly infuriate all the Arab states in the world, plus a few others. Okay? He's saying repeatedly, Egypt and Jordan will take the hostages after our talk. I believe Jordan comes today to the White House. He's then saying he'll give them billions of dollars. He's also saying that he'll pull the aid America gives to Egypt and Jordan away if they don't play this game of taking in the refugees from Gaza. It's very easy. They could walk into Egypt, literally walk into Egypt, and you just put them on a bus and take them to Jordan. It's a few hours. I don't know, most would be 2.5 hours or something like that. So you just run, you get a couple of hundred buses together, and you put them on them and run caravans with, military in the front and the rear and on the sides, and maybe have helicopters overhead. And that's it. You run them into Jordan. You have 40 on a bus, so it's a big job. If you got 40 on a bus, you got 100 buses. Um, what was it, 4,000, I believe, right? And in a run, so you could make run. I mean, to put together 300 buses is child's play in Israel. So you just run them that way. You could also lift them, because you're talking a 20-minute, 30-minute flight, probably 30 minutes. But I don't know how they'll do it, but kind of go by sea. So you got two choices: walk, it's too far. Put them in taxis, ridiculous. Cars, ridiculous. Trains, there's no such route. So you're down to buses and aircraft, maybe both. It hasn't started, and I don't think it's ever going to do anything meaningful. There might be a few thousand they get out, but it's not. It's not in the prophecies. It's not working. Okay, that's infuriating the whole Arab world and other countries. Trump is flexing his muscles a bit too much, and he's doing everything at the same time. But let's continue. Um, and Trump says, I would rather see Iran sign a nuclear treaty. Of course, that's going to involve forced inspections on a very frequent basis, possibly resident inspectors at the nuclear facilities. And if they don't let the nuclear inspectors, i.e., have full reign of the facility, that's going to be considered a breach. They're guaranteed. The chances of Iran agreeing to that are zero. Iran said it's a waste of time to negotiate with Trump. Okay. So Iran has no intentions of doing this. Then he said, if they don't do it, I'd rather see them do the treaty than get bombed. And then he said, if they don't do the treaty, Israel will attack them. Well, what he said. Will Netanyahu do it? Netanyahu hates Iran so much because all the trouble they've caused for him with the proxies, and they've tried to kill him, I'm sure. And Trump's of the opinion they tried to kill him too. So that we're getting the Moab bombs, the 22,000-pound bombs. They might be here already. They're very easy to fly over. They're not going to take a month. Maybe they have to put them on a boat and it'll take some time. I don't know. But if Trump evacuates the civilians out of Gaza, it's such a blow to all these Muslim states. They're going to go nuts. Saudi Arabia turned against Trump. He vetoed, he published against what Trump said about Saudi Arabia, and he made press releases saying we're not taking those things in. We're not having an Abrahamic Accord with Israel unless there's a Palestinian state. And to make it worse, then Trump turns around and says to the Prince of Saudi Arabia, the guy that runs the joint, you've got plenty. Saudi Arabia has plenty of land. Let them build the Palestinian state in Saudi Arabia. Of course, then Trump would say, yeah, we'll give them the Gazan refugees. He was also talking about giving Gazan evacuees into Saudi Arabia, but it's not going to happen. So Saudi Arabia is in disfavor with Trump right now. Okay? And when the ceasefire with Hamas breaks, the Houthis are going to get unleashed. They do much with Israel. They launch at Israel, and 99% of the time or more, 99.5%, it's taken down. Okay? Now, Israel's had several weeks to replenish their Iron Dome supplies and other things, and resting. You know, I think we started the ceasefire January 19th or 20th or something like that. So you've got you got about 3 weeks. The soldiers have rested to some great extent. Leave has been given. They went home and they're relaxing, you know. And I'm sure more supplies came in, I know, from America. So, you know, they got their, you know, their energy back so they can, you know, function. So you better believe the Houthis are going to join in again. The UN is sanctioning the Houthis, or Yemen, I think. Yemen, I think, because of an arrest of 8 UN employees. So they're not giving them aid and stuff like that. But they're lunatics. So Lebanon, can Hezbollah do anything? Well, the Lebanese army has completely failed to do anything, yet Trump is telling Israel on the 18th of February, Israel has to leave Lebanon. But we can't leave because the Hezbollah have been trying to the south, bring weapons and everything else. We've caught them, we've blown up weapons. The Lebanese army has escorted them in. So it's, if Trump doesn't tell us to extend it, I mean, it's going to look pretty bad. I don't know. Israel can't pull out, okay? So what Trump is doing is he's having Israel start the war up again with Gaza. And then Lebanon, the Hezbollah, what's left of it, is going to get back in the war. There's not much chance of anything happening with Syria, I don't believe. Iraq may get into the war, whatever little they can do, which is precious little. Hezbollah will start attacking ships in the Red Sea. That you can count on, I believe. And they've had time to regroup too. And Trump is going to go livid when they're attacking ships in the Red Sea, and it's a likely conclusion. Trump and a few other countries, or maybe just Trump in the UK, American UK, bombs out of the Houthis. Trump is not going to put up with the ship interdiction and the firing at American Navy vessels. I guarantee you Trump will go ballistic. They're not the brightest lights in the harbor, and they're probably not understanding what Trump will do. They're basing it on what Biden did, and they think, oh, they'll shoot a few missiles, drop. Who cares? No, he doesn't. They don't understand. Not maybe the first day. It'll have to escalate, but and the Houthis are very likely to start attacking other countries in the region. Saudi Arabia oil refineries, Aramco, which they did twice years past. So Saudi needs to become another puppet of Netanyahu, or they're facing the Houthis themselves. Jordan needs to be another puppet of Trump, or they're going to be facing the Houthis. Egypt is likely not going to be facing an actual fighting war with Houthis, but their revenue from ships passing through the Red Sea is going to drop back again. once the Houthis did the ceasefire, plenty of ships went through. So that's also how Trump's leveraging Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt. Now, the UAE is in BRICS and they're buddying up to Iran, so they're probably not going to get an attack. Now, Saudi Arabia can the threat of the Houthis by getting friendly with Iran, which has a price, and he might take that, which would probably mean join BRICS and stuff like that. Oman, we don't hear much about it one way or the other, nor do we hear much about Kuwait. Qatar is a wild card. They're pretty much pro-terrorism, pro-Muslim terrorist states and groups. They may get left alone. Bahrain has big American bases. I don't think they'll get left alone. So what are we talking about with Iran? They know they're going to get hit now. They know it. They know they're not signing a nuclear treaty. When the ceasefire ends, they try to launch at Israel, but I'm not sure they have enough radar to guide the missiles. So that may not happen. Israel more easily attack Iran because Jordan has been dismantled of anti-aircraft systems and radars, so they can fly across Syria and close the distance to Iran very easily. They could also fly over Iraq airspace. They have some radar, and the threat level coming out of Iraq would be minimal. Iraq is a puppet of Iran, and they might get into the war with it looks like we're, they have launched drones at us. They can't get missiles. Now, Iran may have put more missiles in there. I think whatever radar they had is still intact. So we might, but they're a little threat to us. We don't know the IRGC of Iran can be in Iraq, but they don't have a border with us, So the real threat is Hezbollah and the in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen and Gaza, whatever little they can do. And then a tiny, well, rather limited threat from Iraq, and Iran could be a threat. What will Iran do? Now, if this executes, Hamas and attack on Iran, the nations of the world are going to light up. They may light up without an attack on Iran, but I think we'll see an attack on Iran. And they're going to bring on Zechariah 12. And Trump's Netanyahu's having a meeting this morning with Security Council, and they may start bombing Gaza today. I mean, they said we're suspending the return of the hostages indefinitely. Okay, and Trump says you better give all the hostages back or the ceasefire is over. So he's meeting by Saturday. So Trump trying to compensate or make up for him, not for Hamas not giving all the hostages back, but trying to dole them out. See, phase 2, which starts March 1st or 2nd, I can't get the exact date right or anything, involves Israel pulling out of Gaza completely, and we're not going to do that. It's suicide. And then after we do that, they'll start feeding us hostages again. But we have to give them mountains of terrorists. Now, Egypt said that if Israel puts troops or keeps troops on the Philadelphia border, it's a violation of the peace treaty with Egypt, and they'll respond. The Philadelphia corridor is where all the weapons got smuggled into Gaza over the years. And I told you for a long time that Egypt is complicit with helping Hamas. They just don't want to be out in the open with it. And this mental midget Netanyahu uses Egypt as a peace negotiator with Hamas. What's wrong with this guy? You know, people think he's so smart. Are you kidding me? If he's smart, it means completely against his own country. That's what that means. Okay. Of course, it's lunatic aside the way this guy behaves. Okay, he's like a lunatic. Like a lunatic. Okay. So Trump is putting Israel, what Trump is doing, Biden did October 7th with Netanyahu by letting it happen, and now Trump and Netanyahu are working what looks like to me the destruction of Israel. It's not going to come to pass, but they're going to probably leading this up to the siege in Zechariah 12, where Israel is surrounded mostly by the neighboring nations. So they may decide, listen to me, that this problem with Israel is not, I'm talking the Houthis, the Hezbollah, the Hamas, Iran, other terrorists, that we're not going to solve this problem by launching missiles. We got to invade Israel in massive numbers and destroy them. So they may all just decide to, lay up on our borders and put a siege on us, which means nothing in, nothing out. And that's when the two witnesses burn them up, and that's found in Zechariah 12:6, most specifically. You guys know that. I can't go back. There's so much to cover. I can't go back and lay the fundamental foundations of prophecy. I have a lot of videos that you could watch on YouTube. Zechariah 12 is the next war. It's really a siege of Israel that the two witnesses destroy. They break up the siege by burning them up. And it's right there in Zechariah 12:6, plain as day. And it's not Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog says Israel's living at peace and rest without bars and walls, with great riches, gold, silver, cattle. Anybody that thinks that's today is in their heads or doesn't know anything. Okay, so let's get into some other fine details here that you'll enjoy. So that's setting the stage. Now we'll back it up with scripture as we go. Okay. Trump's doing this on purpose, if you're wondering. They're working this out together. All the leaders of every country, including Israel, are Satan bots. part of this age, and the age is not over till everlasting life comes. And that could be any day now. I'm reading my notes, and then we'll keep going. I got a lot of notes. Hamas knows it's over for them if they play ball with Trump. So they're making a stand now while they got more hostages. That's what they're doing. The other thing that could be happening is they're afraid to release more hostages that have been starved. So they may be trying to tread water with Netanyahu for weeks and beef up the hostages, like give them good meals 5 times a day or something, and get them to look much better before they release them. That's another idea, but that's stupidity. Saudi Arabia likely is going to have a hand against Israel. It's Didon in prophecy. So it appears they do something against us too, along with the other nations. All right, I got to remove some of these notes that I don't need anymore. Okay. Now my notes are messed up. Let me see what I can do. Now I got them back. Or did I? Nope. Uh-oh. Got my notes stuff. I have to do it on my own. Let's see if I can restore this. I have this notes thing I use in a piece of junk, really. I don't know what it did to my notes. Okay, no worries. We'll take it off the top of my head. How do I do this? All right, let's start with Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me get the right verse for this. Genesis 19. Now, some of you know that I consider the two men in Sodom and Gomorrah to be the two witnesses. But let's say there was some of God's other sons. It could still apply to the two witnesses with the daughter of Babylon. It wouldn't matter. But let's go through it. And there came two angels to Sodom at evening. Down the word for angels is Moloch, messenger. Elijah is referred to as a Moloch in Malachi 3. I don't think these were angels. I think they were higher up, God's sons. Okay. Well, some of you don't know what are you talking about? God's sons. Yeshua's the only son, and okay. Yeshua's the only begotten son, the only one that was born of the Holy Spirit and a woman, and he's also the firstborn son. But Job 1 6, I believe. Now there was a day when the sons, plural, B'nai, plural, sons of God, of Elohim, sons of Elohim, came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. So there's sons of God. Okay, get that. The two witnesses are sons of God when you read Zechariah 14. Okay, I don't want to get on that whole wagon. Most of you know that. Okay, Genesis 19. And there came two Malach messengers to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground. So the Holy Spirit told him something, or he saw their appearance, don't know. And he said, "Behold, now my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early, and go on your ways." And they said, "Nay, but we will abide in the street all night." And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned unto him, entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. So they ate. When Yeshua rose from the dead, he went fishing, caught some fish, cooked the fish, and ate the fish with the apostles. See, and then he told Thomas, "Stick your hand in my side and feel me. I'm not a spirit." See, the angels are ministering spirits. They're spirits. Yeshua has a different kind of a body. it's like a body, because his body rose from the dead. The tomb was empty, but it became. He walked through walls. He walked through walls. So, and he was able to change his appearance. So this is a different kind of body he had. First John 3. When you see him, you will be like him. It's a different kind of thing. Satan and the demons got spiritual bodies. They don't have a carnal flesh body. They never did. They don't. He did. He was born on earth of a woman. So he had, and so that's probably the kind of body we have. Now, how can I back that up? When Jehovah returns at the last day from heaven and burns up the universe, it tells us the graves open, but he also brings the people that died in the Lord down with him from heaven, and the graves open. Now, what would be the point of having the graves open? In other words, why? I mean, they're getting a body back. They're getting their earthly body back, and they're going to be like Yeshua. And he took this earthly body and went up on the clouds to heaven, as do Elijah and Apostle John, when they rise from the dead too, which is their bodies. Their bodies get up from being dead, and they get on a cloud. See, so there's a different kind of body that we get. Okay, it's likely a spiritual body because it could do things that we can't do with our body. But it's also not a spiritual body. I can't help you any further than that. That's my best take on it. And I think that it's a good take. Verse 3, and he pressed upon them great in unto him back in Sodom with Lot, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. So they ate like Yeshua did. So you don't read of angels eating. The ones that appeared to Abraham, I think, was Yeshua, maybe one of the two witnesses or something. Maybe Jehovah appeared there as well, and he fed them food, but I'm sure Jehovah, maybe Yeshua, God says each shall reproduce after their own kind. So if Yeshua has a body like that, and the witnesses have a body like that, well, maybe that's Jehovah's body, and it's a spiritual body, but yet it's not exactly what we expect to be a spiritual body. Okay? Because it appears, if I remember correctly, he was there and he ate too. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house and found old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Well, that means rape them in a perverted way. So when Yeshua said, I never knew you, does that mean you didn't have carnal flesh sex with Yeshua? Of course not. It means you're not in him and his spirit is not in you. It means spirit is not in you. So he says it this way, Yeshua says it this way in a spiritual sense. Okay? When a man and a woman and they married, the two be one flesh. So the relationship you have with Yeshua when the Holy Spirit is in you, you're in Yeshua, is very close. The bridegroom, you could say, right? Okay. And Lot went out but it's all spiritual, not this carnal garbage. Okay. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, or behind him, we would say, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly, do not do this wicked thing, because they were going to do, a homosexual rape. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do you to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they unto the shadow of my roof. So the two daughters were virgins. Okay. And we'll read more about them later. And they see, Lot wasn't into, being filled with the Holy Spirit, and he didn't know what to do and what not to do. He was not the way we are today. The law wasn't given to Moses yet, and he was, he did things like this. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fell, but he still had favor from God. Remember, he was trying to help save these two people from heaven, giving up his daughters for that. Sort of like Abraham sacrificing his son, thinking this would be raised from the dead. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now we will deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut to the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness. Well, that would be a plague or a hit, like Moses and Aaron did that. Now, in Isaiah 1, it says it's going to go back to the beginning, and like at the beginning, which is with Moses and Aaron, which were two prophets and two judges. They were judges and prophets. So the judges is generally going to be a prophet at the same time. The two witnesses are prophets, so they'll be the judges of Israel we read about in Zechariah 12. And, it says the two witnesses can put any of the plagues on people as they see fit. They don't have to get it handed to them. Like Jehovah told Moses, go to Pharaoh and tell him this plague is going to come on you, if you don't do this, right? The two witnesses can do the plagues on their own, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law? So now he's calling them men. First they were angels, now they're men. Well, they're messengers. So they look like a man. And thy sons and thy daughters, and whosoever thou hast in the city, them out of this place, so you and your whole house shall be saved. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxed great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord, or Jehovah, had sent us to destroy it. So who's destroying the place of Sodom and Gomorrah? The Lord sent us to destroy it. Is this not like Moses and Aaron? So who destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah? who's going to have fire coming out of their mouths, which is what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah. But not exactly, because the fire came down from heaven as fire and brimstone. I'm taking a break. I'll be right back. Greeting. Verses 19:13. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of, and Jehovah hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons of law, which married his daughters. So these daughters were married. I don't know. Oh, I guess he has a lot of daughters. It's my wife. Hold on. Hello? Okay. All right. Bye. She just went out looking for me or something. If she's coming back, I don't know what that is. But okay. So I guess the daughters that were in his house with him were virgins, and the married daughters were not in there. So, sons of laws which married his daughters, up, get you out of this place, for Jehovah will destroy this city. But he, as one that mocked unto his sons of laws, they didn't believe him, I guess. And when the morning arose, the angels hastened Lot. Now they're calling him angels. And the word for angels is Malach, which also means messengers. So, hasten, which an angel could be a Malach, but the Malach is, it means messenger. Hastened Lot, saying, arise. You know, they call the Holy Spirit Holy Ghost. What the heck is a ghost anyway? You know, I know there's a comic book called Casper the Friendly Ghost, but that doesn't count. What is a ghost, you know? You know, it's the Holy Spirit. Then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, those are the virgin daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the lawlessness of the city. So you and your whole house were being saved. They were also going to bring the daughters that lived outside his house. I guess it's you and your whole family would be saved when you analyze it. But and what happened? They died, and that's what's going to happen to those in other situations too. But let's get back to this. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, upon the hand of his two daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and in spite of his take my daughters and spare them, the Lord's still merciful towards him. And they're holding his hand. The men laid hold upon his, so they had a body, they had a corporal body, and set him the city. You know, it's very possible that the two witnesses and other sons of God appeared on earth over the many, many, many centuries at different times and places, and it's just not recorded in the Bible. And they did mighty works. There's a lot of books of the Bible. The Bible itself mentions, dozens of books that we don't have. I'm not, okay, so escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to them, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Adonai is the word of the Lord. It's a soft word. People would call their employer or landlord Adonai. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me, saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold, now the city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one, and my soul shall live? And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape hither, for I cannot do anything. See, the messenger says, does it say, I cannot? Let's check the Hebrew. It says lo, which means no. Prevail. It doesn't say I cannot, say no prevail, would do maybe. He's basically saying he can't do anything till thou be this, till he gets out. Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord, the word Zoar is supposedly something like insignificant. It's Sa'ar in Hebrew. It's not Zoar, it's Sa'ar. Then the Lord rained. Now we're hearing that Jehovah rained fire upon. So what it really says in the Hebrew is Jehovah rained I think it means rained. Yep. So now it's saying Jehovah rained on Sodom or upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. So from Jehovah, from, doesn't really say out of, it's from. Shemaim from the heavens. So the two witnesses are doing it, and Jehovah's, well, these two fellows, which I think are the two witnesses, are doing it, and Jehovah's doing it. You see? Like with Moses and Aaron. Jehovah was doing it, but Moses and Aaron were doing it. Ezekiel prophesied about the destruction of the city, I believe Jerusalem, and he said, when I came to destroy the city, because he knew Jehovah wouldn't do anything unless it was prophesied first. There was prophets. You got to get this concept down. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning in the place where he stood, and he looked towards. Okay, so let's over to Jeremiah 50 and 51. And you know what I'm going to try to do? Maybe, this note thing has different sections. Let me read the computer, and I might find the right section with my notes. Because with my notes, I don't think I have to read the whole chapters, but without them, I will. And I find it so difficult to do Jeremiah 50 and 51 because it's so large, and I'm so old. But let's see. Maybe that'll restore, because I've seen this before. I might have hit the wrong button and it shifted into another division of this app. We'll see in a minute. It has all my older notes.